Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel and check out the other videos. And if you're here for a second, third, or fourth time, thank you so much for coming back and getting creative. All right, guys, it's going to be another fun painting today. So grab your supplies, transfer your traceable to your surface, and as always, make sure you take your progress photos. Now on mine, you'll see that I went over the traceable with a black Sharpie marker, and that's for those of you at home that are going to pause the video and draw what you see. If you're utilizing the traceable, you do not have to go over it with the black lines. And we're going to start off with a light yellow. So I pulled some of that white aside, a little bit of yellow, and I am using that large flat brush. And we're starting kind of at that horizon line, those lines for where the hills are. And we're going to go from that edge um, towards the top of the canvas, and we'll bring it just a little bit below the rose. So feel free, if you want, kind of use the full width of your brush, turn it sideways. You can make little X marks, but you're going to basically be observing where I place each color and mimicking that to the best of your ability. Now we're grabbing some of that direct yellow, painting right on top of that light lemony yellow, and going right kind of in the center to give a little bit more intensity for this sky. Then we clean the brush really good, and we're actually going to put a border of white right above that light yellow. And super exciting putting white on a white canvas. But by putting this border, as we make our light blue for our next color, we're going to blend this light blue into the white and not into the yellow, because if we blend our blue into the yellow, we'll actually get green. So by putting that white border right there, just gives us a bit of a buffer for when we do some of our blending. And as you are bringing that light blue to blend into the white, just be a little more controlled with your brush strokes. You don't have to go super crazy on it. And just be really cautious as you are coming up close to the yellow color. If you happen to overlap a little bit and you get a little slight green, embrace it. You can always wipe it off with a paper towel and reapply the appropriate color. So it's never set in stone. So now we're going for a little bit of a more of a medium blue as we move towards the top of the canvas. And again, I want you to just observe where I place each of these colors and mimic that to the best of your ability at home. You do have full permission if you want to switch out colors and do something different, go right ahead and do that. Now, as you are doing that blending where the darker blue is coming up next to the lighter blue, or even where the lighter blue is coming on towards the white, using light pressure will help with your blending. And now we're moving into a little bit darker, more of the pure blue, darker blue. You basically just want to go a few shades darker than what you were just using, starting kind of with the light yellows at the bottom, getting into the light blue, medium blue, and then darker blue at the top of the canvas. Again, using that light pressure and just kind of playing with the mark making and your brush movement. If you do happen to be on a stretched canvas, I do recommend that you carry your colors around the edges of your canvas. And here you can see I dropped my brush, but going and grabbing more of that direct blue for kind of those corners, going a little bit darker. And if you happen to pull up the original Dali rose painting, please feel free to add anything that you see in the original painting that I am not adding into this simplified version. And you do want to do everything that you want to your background right now while the paint is wet. You can see a few places where I'm adding a bit of the darker blue. Um, Pause the video and take your progress photos at any point that you need. I am going to clean that brush. I'm going to grab white paint, and my background's still pretty wet, but we're going to put the little hint of where the clouds are. And as we grab that white paint, I'm just making little dots that overlap each other. It is picking up the underneath blue, so it is diffusing the white rather quickly. And you'll see in a moment where I actually grab more white paint, apply it on there pretty thick. You can let this dry and reapply your clouds if you want. But again, this is just great practice for how quickly some of the lighter colors will diffuse when you do some of your blending. Again, whether you're watching the video or looking at the original, you are strengthening your power of observation as we complete today's painting. And if you're one of my first time painters, remember to breathe, take a big inhale, let out all your stress and frustration, and even laugh at yourself a little bit. Sometimes we don't realize we're holding our breath. All right, so I think I had to put some more paint on the canvas. We're going to go back to those clouds, grab some more of that white. Again, I'm kind of slapping it on there. And if you can tell, I am holding the brush a bit of at a 45-degree angle. This allows me to apply the paint a little bit thicker um, compared to holding it perpendicular to where there's a little bit more blending. Again, just kind of play with it. Now, as we get into the ground, we pulled some of that white aside and add a little bit of raw sienna and going for kind of a light raw sienna here. Again, you are welcome to change out colors. And I am going right over those traceable lines from earlier and those black Sharpie marker lines. Now we're going to grab some of that direct raw sienna, slap it in a few areas, and then blend it into the base. You're getting really good practice with wet on wet blending today. Then we're going to grab a little bit of black, and a tiny, tiny amount of black pigment will go a long way. And I actually probably was a little heavy-handed on my application, so you can even apply less than what you see on the screen. And then we're just going to blend that into that base paint, that base light raw sienna. Again, if you feel like finger painting to do some of your blending, that's really kind of fun and rather effective too. All right, so another place to pause your video, take your progress photo. I do recommend letting this dry as you move into the rose. And again, if you want to change the color of your rose, go right ahead. You can switch out for any color. So what we're going to do for each petal of the rose, we're going to put our base red paint on there. And again, if you want a different color, if you want pink or yellow or white, you can put your base color in. And then with the small pointy brush, I'm grabbing some of the black paint, and where the shadow element would be, where the folds are, I'm going to place that black paint there, then wipe off the brush, and then with light pressure, we're going to pull some of that black into the red. And again, you're going to notice that a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of black pigment will go a long way as you're mixing in with the red. So in this case, less is more. You can go back and grab some of your red, but you do want to be a little bit more controlled with your brush strokes as you're working with your as you're working in with the rose. Sorry. Now we're grabbing a little bit of that white. I'm gonna put a highlight on there, and same thing like with the clouds. We'll put a little bit on there, wipe the brush off, and then go back and blend it in. And again, as I'm doing some of my blending, you will notice that I am holding that brush at that 45-degree angle. This allows for my brush strokes to be a little bit smoother, and it allows for me to keep that paint kind of thick on there. You don't want to see the texture of your canvas as you're applying this. And we're going to recreate this formula as we go through the entire rose, petal by petal. So going back and grabbing that direct red, applying it kind of thick on there. Then we will apply a little bit of the black for the shadow and then some white for the highlight. So again, this is a painting that you can do multiple times and get more and more comfortable with your brush control each time you paint the rose. And that's really kind of the concept of painting, is just getting more comfortable with your process and strengthening your power of observation. So got the red on for that petal, going back with that pointy brush, grabbing a little bit of black, applying it on there, and then we're going to wipe off the brush and then go back and blend that little bit of pigment into our base color. Again, remember to breathe. If your brush is shaky as you're going to apply this, that does mean that you are holding your breath. So exhale as you touch the brush to the canvas, and it'll make the process a little bit easier for you. So here again, adding the white, the highlight value, wiping it off, and then going back with light pressure and blending that white into the base paint color. You'll get really comfortable with this by the time we are done with the rose. Again, repeating that process, laying your base color, and then we'll go in with the shadows and the highlights. All right, so as I create a lot of these master paintings, for the YouTube channel, there are some things that I leave out. So I do recommend that you Google the original painting, find what I left out of the painting, and then add it to yours if you are inclined to add it to your painting. I don't want to kind of give you everything, and I do want you to actually go find the original and do a little comparison between this one, what you painted, and the original. So again, we got that base color on there, going in with a little bit of the black with that pointy brush, and then wiping that the excess paint off of our brush, and then going back and blending. Now, like I said earlier, with painting, the biggest part of painting is strengthening your power of observation. So again, as you are observing the video, mimicking to the best of your ability as you paint at home, or if you look at the original painting, mimic what you see um, in that painting and the things that I left out of this painting. And again, the more that you do this, the more you'll see your painting skills improve, as well as some of your everyday skills and stuff that you may be doing in your job. The power of observation is something that can be applied to anything in your life. Um, and it just makes for hopefully you enjoy life a little bit more as you observe the awesome things in your world and maybe some of the small details in your world. All right, it's coming along. So going back in with that red, same thing, putting the base on, and I'm actually going to work on a couple of petals this time. And again, you are welcome to do the same thing or just take it one petal at a time. And because my paint is on the transparent side, this is student grade paint, I can still see the black Sharpie markers through it. So you've got two options if you have the Sharpie marker on yours. You can apply your paint a little bit thicker, and also you can apply 2 layers of it. And in some of the videos, we do apply 2 layers, and it is kind of nice to see how opaque that coverage gets. So feel free to adjust for what you need based on the supplies that you have in front of you. All right, again, using that light pressure to blend that black into the base red. And then again, we'll clean the brush, grab some white paint for the highlight, and continue on. So something that I tell all my students in pretty much every painting that I teach and every video that I have out there, as you're going through the process, and especially when you are done filling up the space on your canvas, I recommend that you get out of your chair, prop your painting up, look at it from a distance of 5 to 10 feet away. This is the normal viewing distance for most things in life, and especially for artwork. So the more that you can kind of get in the habit of looking at your artwork, um, from these perspectives, the easier it is going to be for your progress. And we do tend to like things a little bit more from that distance. All right, you guys are doing a great job. I'm proud of you. We're going to finish up those last couple petals all at once. We're going to put that base red on there, and then we'll go in with the shadow and then the highlight. Now, I do recommend that you paint again rather soon. I recommend that you paint at least weekly, if not monthly, just because it helps with everything in life, just having a creative outlet and giving yourself a break. But the next time that you go to paint, a lot of stuff that you're learning right now, the brush control, the blending, the smaller brush strokes as you're working on the rows, all of these skills will show up even stronger the next time that you paint, and then the next time you paint, and the next time you paint after that. So painting's not about being perfect, but doing a little bit, painting's a bit more about doing a little bit better than you did the last time that you painted. So that way you're constantly kind of building on your skills, not comparing to somebody else, but getting more comfortable with your own creative process. So that's why I said don't wait too long to do your next painting, because you do want to kind of keep having your skills grow and get more comfortable. And the more comfortable you get, the more you'll find some things that you might find challenging now, you might find them more approachable later on as your skills grow. All right, so adding those last couple of highlights, placing that white on there, and then we'll wipe the brush off um, and blend them in. But feel free to do anything that you want to your painting. Do Google the original Dali rose painting and try to find the one thing that I left out of this one. And when you do find what I left out, you can actually Google the steps on how to make that element. And there's quite a few videos and really simple, like I think a 6-part step to be able to create it. And if not, just send me an email. So thank you guys so much for hanging out and getting creative with me. Until next time, cheers. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the process of painting and I hope you are happy with how your paintings turned out. I'm really proud of you for getting creative. As you're uploading these to social media, please tag me at or hashtag paintwithlovejoy or email me your pictures paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. I really enjoy seeing them. I try to post them on social media to encourage other beginner painters to try the process of painting. But please share this with your community as well. Anybody who is kind of scared to paint, share your experience with them and let them know kind of how much you benefited from it and how much you enjoyed the process. So kind of share the fun. With that being said, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, things that you want me to paint in the future, please leave a comment. I try to respond to everybody as quickly as I can. And any of the future suggestions for paintings, I add that to my production list and get to them as quickly as I can. So in the meantime, please keep getting creative. Let me know how you're doing. And until next time, cheers.